Today we're doing our ultimate fried rice. I've got a carrot here, just showing you how to process these parts. Cut off the ends, then we're going to take a peeler, peel it. You don't have to peel it, you could wash it if you want, but I prefer my carrots peeled. And so we get that peeled. And we're going to dice these pretty small. To do this, I'm going to cut this carrot lengthwise. And then I'm going to take each part and cut it into thinner strips like this. Okay. Do the same thing here. Then I'm going to group it together and I'm going to run my knife through and just make kind of nice small diced carrots. This way it'll cook really fast and be evenly distributed in the rice. So we finished dicing up the carrots, and now we're going to prep some onions here. So to do an onion, I'm just going to cut the ends off both sides, like so. And I'll show you my technique, which I find is pretty fast. Then I'm actually going to cut this in half before I peel it. This allows me to peel it much more easily. So there I go, in one go. Same thing here. And to dice this, all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut most of the way through, not all the way through, like so. And then I'm going to run my knife across it, and I've got diced onions for the edge here. I just like to go ahead and dice this like so. And do the same thing on the other side. Now we're going to prepare the rice. I'm not doing steamed rice. Okay, I grew up doing steamed rice, but I have learned that the French know how to prepare the rice very well, and I'm doing technically what's known as a pilaf, a rice pilaf. You end up with having rice that doesn't stick, it doesn't clump up at all. We're basically going to neutralize the starch by sauteing it. So first I'm just putting some butter in here, and I'm just melting it completely, then I'm going to add rice. Now that the butter is completely melted, I'm going to add, this is high quality jasmine rice. In my opinion, jasmine is really the only way to go. And now I'm just going to stir this. And what I want to see is that I have enough butter in here to coat all of the rice grains. Okay, so that's pretty good. I'm just going to add a little bit more rice. You can see I'm not measuring anything. If you need a measure, you can, but I don't measure. All right, so here we go. That's what I'm looking for. And now what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to heat this over high heat. I'm going to stir this until it all gets toasted, lightly toasted. I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. So the rice has been toasting. I've been stirring pretty continuously. I've turned down the heat a little bit so that it can toast a little bit more evenly. And we're about halfway there, so I'll show you the finished product. So now it's properly toasted. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to season it a little bit here. Just sprinkle in some, I'm using Himalayan pink salt. I like the mineral flavor that comes in it. We don't need too much because everything that's going to fried rice will be seasoned. And some black pepper. That's it. And now you can see how it's all separated, it's toasted. I've left some grains not as toasted as others. We don't need to go too dark. And now I'm going to add water. Keep in mind the rice is extremely hot. This is going to steam up like crazy. So just stand back when you're doing this. There we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to eyeball it. I know that I'm looking for approximately 3/4 inch or so to 1 inch of water above the rice level. Tends to work. Growing up, we were taught to stick our fingers in, and up to the first knuckle is how you do your rice. The nice thing about pilaf is there's always some room. You can go a little bit heavy on the water and you're still good to go. Okay, so I can tell by just checking that that is just about right. I'll do just a touch more. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually continually stir this, okay, just for now, until I get it just to a light boil. And then I'm going to turn down the heat to the lowest setting, or pretty darn low, cover it, and I'm not going to touch the pan again. So that's the key. So you might hear, don't stir your rice, but actually you can stir up until the point you cover it. And at that point, you've got to completely stop stirring. I'll show you once we get to that stage. So now you can see we've got just a light boil going on the rice. So at this point, I'm just going to give it a final stir. I'm going to cover it. I'm going to turn it to low, and we're done. I'll see it in 15 minutes. So now we've got scallions I'm going to prep. I'm just going to cut a little of the ends off here. And then I'm going to cut off just the very edge of the base here. I'm going to use as much as we can, and then I'm just going to run my knife through. Just do small rings. Have it. Next, we're going to do some slivers of garlic. I really like the way slivers taste. One interesting fact about garlic is that the larger the slices, the sweeter the garlic actually is when you caramelize it. And the smaller the dice is, then the more pungent it actually becomes. So, contrary to popular belief, bigger shards of garlic actually just caramelize better. Next, we're going to prepare some Chinese sausage here, and all you have to do is just slice it. Now, you can cut it into smaller pieces if you like, but I just like it in this shape here, these little discs. And here's the prepared vegetables so far. So next, I'm going to prepare some chicken thighs. These are boneless, skinless to save some time. You can trim some of the fat off if you prefer, like I'm doing right here. Just trim it right off with your knife. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to dice these guys. Chicken thighs, I think it's the way to go here. If you want to go chicken breast or chicken tenderloins, you can. It's just leaner, so the fat content helps keep this moist. You can't overcook it. So again, I'm just dicing this into, I don't know, medium kind of size dices. If you want to go a little smaller, you can. You get to decide for yourself. The rice just finished. I'm taking a peek. So what we're going to do is we're going to lift the rice from the very bottom of the pan and turn the spatula all the way down. I'm just going to fold it back over itself just like this. And yes, it's looking perfect. There we go. We just want to fluff up the rice just very little. And if you wanted to, you could add just a little butter to this, which I'll do. Not much, because this is going to get cooked in the wok as well. So that'll do for me. And then I'm just going to give that a light stir. Then I'm going to let this rest with the cover just cracked so that some of the steam can escape and the rice can dry out just a little bit. Next, I'm going to marinate these chicken thighs here. I'm going to take some chili oil. Okay. I love this stuff. It smells amazing. I call it liquid gold. This is a little bit of dark soy sauce. We don't need too much of this. And then I'm just going to do some salt. This is, again, pink Himalayan salt, but you can use any salt that you want. Usually pink Himalayan salt is actually a finishing salt. I just really love it, and I found a good cheap supplier, so I don't mind using a lot of it. A little black pepper. The reason it's only a little bit is because I've got some other sources of pepper here. This is lemon pepper. No salt. Really important. I just think lemon pepper and chicken's amazing. This is smoked paprika. Amazing stuff. And I love this stuff, so I use quite a bit. And I've got just a little bit of ancho chili powder here. I'm going to give this a quick mix. And our chicken is marinated and good to go. Next, we're going to do some shrimp. I'm going to show you how to peel a shrimp. This is good fresh Georgia shrimp. Notice I'm peeling down into colander. That's because I'm going to reserve the shells, freeze it, and make a shrimp bisque later on. Okay, so to do this, I like to have just a little running water. Just take your thumb from underneath the shrimp. You can do this with a fork too. There's some shortcuts. And we just kind of peel away. Now this is headless shrimp. You just make sure the shell is completely off, and that's how you peel it. and I'll show you how to devein it next. So now I'm just taking the shrimp shells that I've reserved, and I'm going to add them to a bag of frozen shells that I keep in my freezer. And again, I want to just reserve this. This is fantastic for a shrimp stock. It's great for a seafood, stew, whatever you want to use. This can be magic. Okay, so once I fill up a whole gallon bag, which I'm getting close to, then I will have a very special treat. And I'll show you guys in a separate video how to do a proper shrimp stock. Next, I'm going to show you how to devein shrimp. Now, you don't have to devein shrimp, but I prefer to. You're going to take a paring knife or a small knife, and I'm just going to take a slit across the back just like this most of the way. You can see the track that you want to take out. I'm going to take this under running cold water. That's it. It's been deveined. All right, now the shrimp's been beautifully deveined. One thing I didn't mention is you definitely do not want to start, do not buy pre-peeled shrimp. Okay, that's the worst thing you can do. And the reason is because pre-peeled shrimp is freezer burned. So it's really bad. So get fresh shrimp if you can. If you have to get frozen, that's fine. Just make sure you get frozen that has the shell on. When you're picking fresh, you want to make sure there is absolutely no smell to the shrimp. So this shrimp is not fishy at all, super fresh. That's my test. I always sniff the shrimp. If I smell anything at all, I don't buy it. That goes for all seafood. So what I'm doing right now is just cutting it into smaller pieces. To do that, I'm just taking a few at a time. Okay, and kind of lining them like so. And just running my knife across, just like that. So now my shrimp's been sliced, and now I'm going to season it with a little marinade. Again, I'm going to use a little chili oil. I really love this stuff, not too much. And then I'm going to season with some lemon pepper. I think that works beautifully with shrimp. And some smoked paprika. Again, this is one of my go-to seasonings. I love Creole and Cajun cooking, so I'm actually going to do kind of a Cajun-inspired seasoning here. This is just a little bit of the chili powder, not too much. That's fine. A little salt. And that's it. Give this a mix with my hands. In case you're wondering why a rice pilaf, this is why. The rice grains are individually separated. It's beautiful. It's not sticking to each other, and it doesn't stick to the pan at all. Next, we're going to go ahead and start sauteing some of the ingredients. I'm prepping them, just pre-cooking some of it. So I'm going to take some peanut oil here. And we're just going to get this smoking hot in my wok here, carbon steel wok. The wok's been properly seasoned, so nothing sticks in this. And once you just see a little smoke coming out, we're ready to add our carrots. And I've got quite a bit of carrots here. You could choose to do these in smaller portions if you don't have a very powerful stove. But mine can handle this no problem. So I've been sauteing the carrots just with a little oil, unseasoned at this point. The reason is because if you add salt too soon, it'll draw the water out, and you'll end up steaming these or boiling them rather than stir frying them. So there we go, some salt and some pepper. Give these another toss. And then a little trick with carrots. They have a natural sweetness in them. I like to add just a splash of brandy at the end. I'm going to turn down the heat because I don't want to flambe this. So that's going to add a lovely sweetness and depth of flavor. Next, I'm going to stir fry some of the diced onions. Crazy hot pan. We want to really get these guys caramelized without overcooking them. So we need high heat. So now that the onions are getting some nice color, this is when I'll season. And I'm just going to use a little sea salt. Not too much, and a little black pepper. And I definitely want to maintain some of the crispiness in this, so I'm not going to cook it, maybe 30 seconds more, that's it. All right, next I'm going to stir fry the chicken. And I have so much chicken here, this is like 5 pounds. I'm going to do it in 2 separate batches, not to overcrowd my pan. Again, I want it crazy hot. I want this to cook probably within 3 to 4 minutes tops. First batch of chicken's done. I'll take it off the heat and start the second. So now all of our ingredients have been prepped. The scallions, the garlic, Chinese sausage, and the marinated shrimp will be cooked to order, as well as the rice. We've got the marinated chicken here that's all been stir-fried, as well as the carrots and the onions. And of course we have eggs. The eggs will be cooked to order as well. We're doing Japanese-style omelets in the wok, and that will get topped off into the dish. I'll show you how everything comes together in a moment. I'm going to show you a secret I do with eggs. This omelet, I've just got a little mayonnaise in there. It may seem a little strange at first, but consider the fact that mayonnaise is actually a combination of eggs, oil, and vinegar. And I've just added some salt and pepper, and then I'll give this a quick whisk, and then I'm going to throw the rice together. Alright, so now we're going to throw this together. I'm going to start with some scallions. I'm cooking this to order. The garlic in, just a little bit. Chinese sausage in. All of these cook in about the same amount of time. So this is why I'm starting with these components. Okay. I'm going to season, a little black pepper, a little salt. Next goes in the shrimp. Shrimp will cook very quickly. The bottom of the wok is the hottest point, so that's where I'm going to position the shrimp. And we're going to kick the shrimp most of the way through because all of this is going to still be cooking as we add components. So that way, when it's everything's put together, it'll be perfectly cooked. So the shrimp is almost there. We're just looking for just the light translucence. That's it. So all this gets mixed in together, like so. I'm going to drop my temperature to medium. Next comes in the rice. So this is that rice pilaf we did earlier. And I'm going to bring the temperature back up. It's already looking amazing. Give this a toss. Look at that. Now I'm going to drop the temperature down a little bit. We're going to add the rest of the ingredients. We've got our brandied carrots. Our caramelized onions. And our chicken. Stir fry here. I'm going to take some of the sauce from the chicken. That's going to add a nice flavor. So notice every component has a component of love into it. Everything has personal attention. This is going to give us a very complex yet harmonious flavor profile. And there we have it. Looking very nice. I'm going to bring the temperature up again. Now preparing for final seasoning. A little bit more salt just because the rice isn't seasoned. Touch of black pepper. Now for some of the complexity, I'm using just a little mushroom soy sauce here. Not much. We use just a splash of full steam for just a nice slight sweetness. And then we're doing a chili bean paste here, which is absolutely delicious. Doesn't take much, that stuff is very hot. Give this a final stir. Smelling amazing. That looks incredible. Now I'm going to plate this and prepare the egg. And this is a Japanese omelet. I'm doing it very last because I think eggs are just the best when they're super fresh. So to cook this, it's super fast. In the wok, I'm just going to get this a little roll. I want it to be just a little bit moist in the middle. Heat's off, just like this. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to take a spatula. It's going to continue to cook itself, and I'm just going to roll this, just like that. Okay. Next, I'm going to take this onto a cutting board, like so. I'm going to give this a very quick cut, just like that. And then I'm going to take just some of the eggs here and lay it right over fried rice. Just a little bit more. To me, fresh omelet over fried rice is amazing. It allows the fried rice to be featured a little bit more, as opposed to just being mixed in. This is really delicious.